What's up, guys? I'm Aaron from Xtreme Xperience. I'm the content marketing manager here, but more than anything else, I am a car enthusiast like you watching. When I was a smallest kid, when I was 5 years old, I started by playing the original Need for Speed. I started looking at cars out the window when I was in drives with my parents, and then probably like you, when I was 16, I could not wait to get my driver's license and get in the driver's seat. But more than that, I owe it partially to my dad. And so I want to talk to you today about the amazing giveaway that we're doing for deserving dads. We're doing a $50,000 giveaway. So you could win your dad a supercar driving experience. And I can't wait because we did this last year and the response was incredible. We in the midst of quarantine started this out and we thought, is this even going to work? Are people going to even care? Are they going to, enter to win for their dads? And after doing this for a couple of weeks, we had over 16,000 people enter to win their dad a free drive. And so that's just incredible. And we thought, well, if this happened last year in the midst of quarantine, and then we saw people get on racetracks, and we saw dads with families, and we saw great grandkids and grandsons and grandpas driving for the very first time their dream, a Ferrari, or a dad coming and driving the Hellcat. We thought if we did that last year and that was the response, we have to do this again because there's so many other people out there who want to give this to their dad for Father's Day. And so we're doing it again this year. So if you look before anything else, look down really quick in the description here. There is a link to go enter. But don't stop watching me because I still have a few more things to say. And then after that, go down, click, and enter. And then once you enter, one more thing is, even if you don't win, we're offering 25% off to anyone. Now through Father's Day, you can get 25% off of any one of these cars, which right now, let's go and look at and talk about a little bit more. So very first, since it's right here, the GT500 is one of my favorite cars. I got to last year when we were first getting this car. There's a red one over there, and we got to film with it. And I drove this on a racetrack and was absolutely blown away. 760 horsepower, you kind of don't comprehend what that means. You're like, okay, so my car has like 200 horsepower. That's a lot more than that, but I don't know what that means. It means that when you put your foot down, this thing absolutely goes. And more than that, when you put your foot to the floor, it roars. It is the loudest car. It's absolutely insane. This is not just the normal Ford Mustang that you're going to see rolling by or a guy at a car meet. This car is incredible. So if your dad is into incredible American performance, buy one of the most incredible brands, buy Ford with Shelby. This is the car for dad. All right, let's watch and see these other cars. All right, next I want to talk about the other car of 2020 of last year that was far and beyond the most hyped car. If you're a car enthusiast and you're watching, you know what I'm talking about. This is the Corvette C8. So much to talk about here, but the biggest thing to talk about is the fact that the engine is not right here, that this is just an empty frunk that can, fit your weekender bag or something like that, and the engine is there, right behind the two seats. This car is absolutely nuts. There's a reason it's in our fleet because it keeps up with all these other cars. Chevrolet did an insane job at making this car good on the track. This thing is balanced perfectly. It performs effortlessly. It makes you feel like a hero. So if dad's like one of those old Corvette guys that he has a 67 that's sitting in the garage that only comes out when it's between 72 and 75 degrees or something like that, this is the car for your dad this Father's Day. Now, let's swing all the way over here because we have in a row 3 beautiful Ferrari 488s. Now, this is the classic red 488 that you want, right? This is the car. This is, when you think about supercar, this was on your wall. It was on my wall as a kid, probably on your wall. So if your dad is into Italian supercars, this is the one. I would say enter to win your dad this car. He can book it. He can choose where and when he drives it, but this is an insane car. Twin turbo V8. If you've looked at our blog recently, you'll see that we wrote a blog post about this car because it's totally different than the 458. If you know cars, you know Ferraris, you know the 458 was a naturally aspirated V8, and this totally switched it up and was a twin turbo V8. And the result is very, very little turbo lag and absolutely insane performance, acceleration, braking all over. we're gonna come over here to the McLaren 570S. This car is an absolute rocket ship. Totally different than other cars. Twin turbo V8 goes like crazy. This car is probably the most understated car because here's the thing about this car. It doesn't look as, it doesn't sound as flashy. You know, it looks flashy when the doors come up, but it doesn't sound as flashy on the racetrack until you realize how fast you're going in this car. It will absolutely deceive you. You'll think that you're going fine, but it just pushes you so hard. It's an insane car. Now, talking about insane track cars, obviously the newest, biggest addition to the fleet in 2021 is the 911 GT3 RS. We've had the GT3 in the Xtreme Xperience fleet for years. It is a true track enthusiast car. Talking to your dad, this is a car that you should be talking about this Father's Day because this one is just insane. If you could see inside the seats right now, you would see that underneath the passenger seat, there is a fire extinguisher, and instead of anything in the back, there's just a roll cage to make this car absolutely terrific on track. This car's nuts. If your dad loves cars and is a true track enthusiast, racing enthusiast, he wants that full immersive experience, the GT3 RS is the way to go. There's a reason why we added this car, that we went up from the GT3 to the GT3 RS, because it just takes things to a whole new level. If your dad is a lover of supercars, if he has been a car guy his entire life, no doubt you have heard the name Lamborghini. The Lamborghini Huracan has been one of the pinnacles of performance for supercars and track-going cars for a while, and then they have just dialed this thing all the way in. It is a screaming V10 on track. This thing is absolutely nuts. When you see it go by, it looks incredible. It sounds amazing. This one is actually a Huracan Evo, which means Lamborghini took the Huracan, that's like the black one there and the green one there, and then they dialed it in even more. They made some slight adjustments. They added a few things and made it even more incredible. So if dad loves Lamborghinis, this is the one to do. This is the one to get dad in the driver's seat of. Now, before we talk about the last two cars in our fleet, there's one more thing that we need to talk about, and that is the change from last year. We had ride-alongs in the incredible Chevy SS. Now, as great as that car was, the 760 horsepower GT500 and the insane Challenger Hellcat meant that we needed something a little bit more powerful. Enter this car. These Charger Hellcat wide bodies, we have 8 of them so that we can put anybody in the passenger seat and in the back seat so that they can have the time of their life flying around track. For ride-alongs, anyone 12 years old and up can go in, which is perfect because even if you get dad to drive, this is perfect for the whole family. Anyone 12 and up can go in, have the time of their life, and if dad wants to, then he can learn the track as well in this car. All right, next up is actually my dad's favorite car, the Nissan GTR. Now, there's a reason why in the midst of Lamborghinis and Ferraris, why this thing holds its own. Because this car is absolutely insane. Twin turbo V6, and yet it's a beast on track. It doesn't have the V10 of a Lamborghini or the twin turbo V8 of a Ferrari, and yet it keeps up and goes because Nissan engineered this thing to perfection. The all-wheel drive system means that you are in control through every single corner, plus the power that it puts down means that you are flying into straightaways, and when you start braking, it's perfectly balanced. This car is an absolute must for anyone who is a fan of Japanese cars.
A little bit of gas, perfect speed right there.
Wow, this thing.
A little bit more.
Wow, the grip. Wow, wow, wow.
Out to the right.
Wow, 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 wow.
All right, second to last car that we're gonna talk about here. Other new kid on the block, the AMG GTR by Mercedes. Now, if you know anything about Mercedes right now, obviously their biggest thing right now is how much they are dominating in F1. And this car benefits from that. This car has a twin turbo V8 in it. This car is mean, aggressive. It may look luxurious, it may look super nice and flashy, but more than anything else, this car was made to absolutely destroy racetracks. It's called the Beast from the Green Hell because it was developed and trained and improved on one of the most well-known racetracks in the world, and the results are just absolutely stunning. If you go inside this car, you'll be blown away by how nice it is until you hit the gas, and then you'll forget what your surroundings are like, and you'll just absolutely roar across the racetrack. All right, last but certainly not least is the Dodge Challenger Hellcat Widebody. Now, you might be thinking, what does a 707 horsepower muscle car have to do in our fleet? Now, you have to remember, this Widebody was made to go on track. This thing is low, wide, it's ready to tackle any corner aggressively, and what's more, if you didn't know already, the brakes on this thing are absolutely nuts. If you're flying towards a corner, this thing will grip and hold you and brake, so it makes it for an absolutely fun, amazing, incredible time on the track.
Go. 65 seconds. Yep, let it come down. Good, right there. Hold it, hold it. Hold it right there, my friend. Hold it right there.
Wow, wow, wow.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh.
Wow, wow, wow.
This car should not be missed. If you haven't driven this on a racetrack yet, you should do it. It's absolutely incredible. Those are all of our cars. I hope that you come and drive one of them, and that more than that you bring a dad in your life out to drive one of these cars. I hope you bring your dad, your grandpa, your brother, your brother-in-law, your cousin, anybody who is a dad who deserves to be in a supercar and who loves cars. Bring them out to track. We want to have them here. And that's why we're giving away this $50,000 worth of driving experiences. Now is the time. Go down below, enter, win one of these driving experiences. Remember, the week before Father's Day is when we're giving them away. That's when we'll find out whether you won or whether you didn't win. And then more than that, 25% off any drive, any one of these cars now through Father's Day. So get on it, do it. It was great talking to you, and we'll see you on track.
Here we go.